Australia, a land of sun, sea and surf, affectionately known as the Lucky Country, a country that was born from convicts. In 1786, the continent had been called New Holland by Dutch explorers. The first Englishman to see it was Captain James Cook, who sailed up its east coast in 1777. Cook named it New South Wales.
Crime, money, panic, terror, lies, confusion, government control. Crime, money, panic, terror. London, no future.
In 1786, Britain was going through a massive crime wave, and so the spot that Cook had named Botany Bay was chosen as a new destination for convicts from the overflowing prison hulks and jails. 11 ships were made ready for the long voyage to Australia. It left Plymouth on the 12th of May 1787. Plymouth Harbour was the last that they saw of England. Aboard separate ships were two of my convict ancestors, John Small and Mary Parker, and I'm here in England to see some of the sights that changed their lives. This is my mum and dad, John Way and Wendy Morris. My dad's dad was Walcott Way, and he was married to Mary Smith. Grandpa was known as Chum, and his father was married to Elsie Gallard. Elsie Gallard's parents were Frank Gallard and Susanna Small. Susanna was the daughter of William Small and Charlotte Melville. William Small was the son of John Small and Mary Parker. Westminster Hall in London. Built in 1097, the hall is the oldest existing part of the Palace of Westminster. It was here in January 1785 that 12 judges gathered in the chambers of Justice Earl Mansfield to decide the route that they would take for the Lent Assizes, a series of court hearings across the country. These hearings would change the life of John Small forever, who was being held in Exeter High Jail. Born in Birmingham on the 11th of December 1761, John Small worked as a bitmaker before joining the Navy at age 19. We can only speculate why he would leave a trade for adventures on the high seas, but perhaps it was that spirit of adventure that led him to Plymouth. And it was definitely adventure he got on the high seas. As a crew member of the HMS Lively, his first extensive journey was to the British colonies in North America, where the Lively had the task of ferrying His Royal Highness Prince William Henry from his largest ship into New York Harbour. The Prince was just 16 at the time, but became King William IV in 1830. They then had a rough trip back to Plymouth with dispatches. Their next big voyage was to the West Indies, Barbados to Jamaica, then back up to New York. For a young man from Birmingham, this must have been an eye-opening introduction to the world they could only imagine back in England. By 1776, the American colonists were at war with their British rulers. The colonists had the support of Britain's European enemies, France and Spain. Sailing again to the West Indies as part of an 11-ship fleet, the Lively captured an American ship and took on board 44 prisoners. But the Lively's crew only numbered 37, and the ship was taken by rebel prisoners. John Small was taken as a prisoner of war to the Spanish port of Havana. With the Geneva Convention some 150 years away, prisoners were treated badly, confined to a small yard with no protection from the elements. They literally lived off bread and water and slept on the rough ground. After 4 months of this hardship, a treaty between the English and Spanish saw the exchange of prisoners and freedom for John. He returned to England only to see a massive cut in the naval force of some 21,000 men because the war with America was over. With a payout of a mere £9, 16 shillings and 7 pence, John Small had to consider his next career move. With so many unemployed seamen, work was hard to come by, so it was not surprising that he resorted to highway robbery. With 3 accomplices, John Small robbed James and Rebecca Burt of the St. Bordeaux Tavern in Plymouth. Their booty was a metal watch with a tortoiseshell case, a pruning knife and 5 shillings in cash. Now, whether this was a one-off or this was their new trade, we'll never know. But we do know that they were caught and then held for trial at the Exeter jail.